Hi there. When I left you in the last video, I was just about to jump in the car and drive north up through the Cairngorm National Park and over towards Spain Bridge. I think I mentioned in the last video I didn't realise it was actually an English bank holiday at the time of shooting this, and as you'll see, as I made my way west towards some of the more popular tourist attractions, the traffic became steadily heavier and heavier, and my mood became very quickly worse and worse. The rest of the trip didn't quite go to plan, so what I'm going to do is, rather than subject you to quite a long period of rants and a few expletives, I'll do a big chunk of this in voiceover, and I'll just switch back to the original audio whenever we get to anywhere where I did manage to take a photograph. Hope you enjoy. As I came into Fort William, it was fairly obvious that the traffic was pretty horrendous. The extent of the traffic problems became even more noticeable after Fort William on the road to the Isles. I had originally planned to stop at Glenfinnan, not for the monument but for a little viewpoint that I found earlier in the year. But with absolutely no legal or safe parking spaces anywhere in the village, I decided to continue on towards my next planned stop point, Loch Eilt. I was surprised to find the little lay-by at the end of Loch Eilt was actually empty when I arrived, so I pulled in and made my way over towards Eilean Des Moines, or if you're a Harry Potter fan, Dumbledore's last resting place. It's a nice view down the loch from there, and I'd planned on trying to get an image because I knew that there was a lot of heather grew on the island, and I'd just set up to take this photograph when suddenly I heard a strange noise coming from behind me. The Jacobite steam train, or the Harry Potter train as it's become known, was making its way back from Mallaig to Fort William.
So this is a slightly different angle from the one that I normally shoot. Normally I would shoot over behind this hill here, looking down the loch, but because of the steam train, which happened to turn up the second that I arrived, there's quite a lot of people down there, so I've been looking for different angles and different compositions and found this one. So what I'm doing is I'm focusing on these rocks and the heather, and obviously having the island in the background. I'm just waiting for the sunlight to pick out some details in the island, and then I'll grab the shot. Yeah, I just realised there that if I move slightly to the left, I could include this peak here and that little valley that was just picking up some sunlight. Otherwise it's quite overcast, as you can probably tell, which doesn't bode well for tonight's sunset, but we'll worry about that later. But yeah, it's quite an interesting angle this. I've never shot from this angle. I'm kind of glad now that there's a crowd over there.
From Arasaig I took the coastal route out towards Morar. There were a couple of beaches along here that I've shot from before that I wanted to just check out, make sure they were nice and quiet. The first of which was the Try beach just near the golf course. and it became very obvious very quickly that we had a major problem with parking and people camping on the beach. This very obvious problem just got worse and worse as we approached Morar. By the time I reached the famous silver sands of Morar, it was pretty obvious that I was not going to get any photography done in the west coast either tonight or, by the looks of the campsites and the tents, tomorrow morning either. Disappointed, I decided to make my way straight to Mallaig and my hotel for the night. So, with a wee dram of malt whisky in my hand, I sat by my room window and contemplated what had become quite a disappointing day for photography. I tried to make some plans for the next day, but it was looking very unlikely that I was going to get any photography done at all along the west coast. I woke to a rather grey morning, and if anything I was rather happy that I hadn't attempted a sunrise shoot. But ever the optimist, I decided to retrace my steps and go back round via Morar and the sandy beaches of Arisaig, in the off chance that everybody had packed up and gone home. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case, and if anything, it was actually worse than it was the night before. There was a little area near Loch Eilt to the south of Arisaig, which I'd planned on shooting for quite a while. So I decided to head there, but yeah, you've guessed, traffic was horrendous. There was no parking spots, so I continued onwards again towards Loch Eilt in the hope that I might get some images down there. Okay, so I've stopped at my first location. This little part of Loch Eilt is quite, as you can see, it's quite calm at the moment. I'm sure that'll change, but just because I really need to do some photography, I've stopped here and I'm going to set up. There's a little kind of beach there. Unfortunately, it involves getting my feet wet, but I'm going to nick over there, set up the tripod and see if we can get something with these lovely reflections. And as you can see, the sun's starting to come out, and as you can maybe not see, so are the midges, so I'm going to make this quick. So yeah, what I've done here is, as you can see, we've got the light hitting, excuse the finger, I'm in telephoto mode at the moment, but the light's hitting that little grassy knoll there, and I kind of like the still reflections on the loch. So I've got a couple of shots here already, because the light's kind of coming and going quite quickly. But yeah, I like that.
And no sooner had I stopped and taken a couple of photographs, but if I pan you round again, you'll see that there's a breeze just risen up, and it's broken the surface of the loch. So I literally had a window of 5 minutes there to get those shots, and then they were gone. So a wee bit of luck there on my part. It's the first for the weekend. What I'll do now is I'll pack up and continue onwards. The next major village I'm likely to hit would be Glenfinnan, but if it's anything like it was yesterday when I passed through it on the way out, I think we can assume that every car parking space has already been taken. But I've got to go that way anyway, so we'll give it a go.
As with Morar, Glenfinnan was just as busy, if not more so, than the day before. So, with one more potential location, one that I'd never shot before, between me and Fort William, I decided to head there.